Good day and welcome to TAS Affairs. TAS Affairs is brought to you by Imo State Internal Revenue Service. My name is Chinaza, Nwoke, your host. Today on the program, we will be looking at determining your business tax liabilities and having a good standing with tax laws. And I have in the studio Mr. Ogbeleche Okechukwu. He is a senior tax officer, audit and investigation department, IIRS. Mr. Collins, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Before we go ahead, we'll be entering the streets of Owerri to find out people's opinion on determining your business tax liabilities and having a good standing with tax laws. We'll be right back.
How often do we do it?
Comply with payment of your taxes.
No lie. We used to delay it sometimes. But I used to follow up on the payment. Sometimes, we are many. It's not only one site here. So they'll be busy working for several other states. So, but me as the staff accountant, if I keep on calling, follow up that I've sent my payu, I've not received the money. They will remember and quickly gives our chairman, he signs it off and they send it.
They give us since where we do record what we do sell and then bring out the tax money. Like I don't this now is 3,000. So the tax money each cup we sell is 200. So that's it. So if we should sell 5, 200 times that 5 is 1,000. That's our tax money.
Many thanks for joining us. This is TAS Affairs, and TAS Affairs is brought to you by the Imo State Internal Revenue Service. On the program today, I have Mr. Ogbeleche Okechukwu, the Senior Tax Officer, Audit and Investigation Department, IIRS. Mr. Collins will be telling us more about determining your business tax liabilities and having a good standing with tax laws. Mr. Collins, welcome once more.
Thank you so much.
Now, Mr. Collins, can you explain to the listeners what tax audit is all about?
All right. Tax audit is an examination of a taxpayer's record to see that he is compliant in the payment of his taxes at the right time. It is a process in the sense that it is not an impromptu affair. The tax authority first of all sends a letter to the taxpayer, all right, intimating the taxpayer the time and the day they will come for tax audit. At the end of the whole process, a liability is established for the taxpayer to pay, and this is preceded by a reconciliation meeting, all right, where the taxpayer and the tax authority discusses the tax liability raised. At the end of that very reconciliation meeting, the taxpayer has no other option or reason or excuse not to pay his tax. And remember, he has 30 days within which to pay the established tax liability.
Is there a need for tax audit?
Yes, there is a very big need for tax audit, because if you do not audit a business, how do you establish the tax liability? It's a check to see that the taxpayer is paying his taxes at the right time. There is every need for tax audit.
What are tax liabilities?
All right, tax liability is the total sum in monetary term of what is expected to be paid by a taxpayer to the government.
Is it possible that an organization may not be aware of its tax liabilities under the law?
It is not possible. It's not possible, because as an existing business, you must be aware that you're supposed to pay your payee, development levy, and every other taxes to the state. So if at the end of the month you should be able to deduct and remit your payee to the tax authority, so it is believed that the taxpayer is aware of his tax liability. Then at the end of the business year, if the taxpayer is to be audited, the tax authority will send its team to go and audit the firm, and at the end of the day, it will raise the tax liability.
So, what are the things an organization must put in place to adequately prepare for tax auditors?
Basically, the first thing you must put in place is to hire a good tax consultant. All right, a good tax consultant will guide you. Another thing you need to do is provide the necessary documents as is usually specified in the audit commencement letter. All right, these documents will help the tax authority to believe certain things like when the business started operation, things like if the business has been paying and remitting its taxes and rates to the tax authority. Thank you.
Mr. Collins, if an organization is behind in tax filing, what can it do?
First of all, there is no need for an organization to be behind filing, because filing is a process where you go to tell the tax authority that you have paid so and so taxes. All right, so there is no need for you to even be behind filing. Now, if the company is behind in filing, if it is a company, the liability is 500,000. If it's an enterprise, the liability is 50,000. So it is recommended that a company should try as much as possible not to be behind in filing. All right, because the audit team will certainly spot that the company is behind filing, and this amount I've just mentioned will be slammed on the company. Thank you.
500,000 will be slammed on the company.
Yes, if it's a limited liability company, then 50,000 for a business name.
Dear listeners, you're listening to Tax Affairs, and Tax Affairs is brought to you by Imo State Internal Revenue Service. We've been discussing with Mr. Ogbeleche Collins Okechukwu, the Senior Tax Officer, Audit and Investigation Department of Imo State Internal Revenue Service. We'll be going on a short break, and after that, the program continues.
Gracie, this one you're pressing your phone so serious like this. Hope there is no problem.
My brother, I'm trying to enroll for IMSIN that everybody's doing, so I want to be left behind though.
What is IMSIN now?
IMSIN is a composite Imo State social benefit number for all individuals, corporate bodies and entities residing and operating in Imo State. Guess what? It is free!
Hey, wait. I don't want to be left out too. So how do I enroll now?
My brother, if you snooze, you lose. So kindly visit www.imostate.tax for personal enrollment. While for corporate enrollment, you need to visit 76 Okigwe Road, opposite Civil Defense for a swift service.
Let me go and get my own no.
Imo State Social Benefit Number is the identification number for all Imo residents. It is free. Get your own today.
Glad to have you back to the studio. The program is Tax Affairs, and it is brought to you by Imo State Internal Revenue Service. Mr. Collins Ogbeleche Okechukwu is still in the building. He's been talking about determining your business tax liabilities and having a good standing with tax laws. Mr. Collins, is it possible to be in good standing with the tax laws?
Yes, certainly you can be in good standing in the tax laws, especially if you have a good tax consultant with you. He can advise you, he can guide you in the remittance of the various taxes and rates to the states at the right times, because there is a time for filing payee, there is a time for filing consumption tax. So if your tax consultant guides you very well, you'll be in good standing. Then if the audit team comes to your company to audit you, at the end of the day, they might even discover that you're not owing. So it means that you are in good standing in tax liabilities or remittance of taxes.
Is there any repercussion for non-compliance with the law on the liabilities?
Yes, there is a very big repercussion. If, for instance, a taxpayer is recalcitrant and stubborn, the law empowers the audit team to adopt what we call the best of judgment (BOJ) assessment, and once that is done, it is enforceable. All right, so there is a very big repercussion. It is recommended that taxpayers should cooperate with the tax authority, especially when it comes to tax remittances and audit exercises. It's a simple exercise. It's not a do or die affair. It's just a check, an examination of a taxpayer's records and book to see that he is paying the right taxes at the right time.
Your words to Imolites.
I would encourage Imolites to continue to pay their taxes, because if you do not pay your taxes, the government will not run. The government needs money to run. Tax benefits you, pay your taxes. Simple.
You've heard him. If you do not pay your taxes, the government will not run. The government needs your tax. Okay? You don't expect the government to do this for you, provide this for you, just like that without you paying your tax. Come on, is that possible? The government needs your tax for it to succeed. Okay? It is your responsibility to pay your tax. My responsibility to pay my tax. Let's get that and let's try as much as possible to pay our tax. So it is on that note, I want to say that's the much we can take on today's edition of the program, Tax Affairs. Remember, Tax Affairs is brought to you by Imo State Internal Revenue Service. If you want to contact us, the number to get us is 070 44 14 3059 070 44 14 3059. Okay, you can email us at taxaffairs@iirs.tax. Website is at www.iirs.tax. Our Twitter handle and Facebook is at Imo Revenue. Okay, our blog is at www.blog.iirs.im.gov.ng. So many thanks for being there. Many thanks, Mr. Collins, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So on behalf of the producer, Olorunfemi Adedeji, the assistant producer, Chidimma Obijiako, research support, Agba Isaac, Gracious Ngbokwere, Chimezie, Ibewike. I'm not also forgetting my editor in the studio, Chigozie, Emeremgini, and the executive producer, Dr. Ifeanyi Okeke. My name is Chinaza Nwoke. Thanking you for your time. Goodbye for now.